welcome to Granny's Country Cooking. And I am Granny. And today, this is what we are making. It's like a double chocolate cake. It's a 2-layer cake made with milk chocolate on the inside. And then it has a dark chocolate dribble on the top. And it is made with melted chocolate. So it will be delicious, and I can't wait for you to watch the video and make your own chocolate cake. And I'm so proud you're with us, and so I will see you in just a minute, and you will do the video with me as we're making this delicious cake. Thank you. See you in a minute. All right, we're going to get started on making our chocolate cake either in 3 layers or in 2 layers. And I'll show you the difference in a minute. We're getting our ingredients all out, getting it ready. But the first thing I want to do is we have brand new cooks that start with us all the time. And I'm so thankful you're here with us. And what we do first is we always have clean, washed hands. We put our long hair back. We also get an apron on, and what that does is that it protects the food from what we may have on our clothes, as well as we can relax and enjoy cooking so we can get messy. Now, the next thing I do is I like to have a little soapy bucket of hot water with soap and a little bit of bleach. And what that does is that when I use some of my utensils, I can just drop them into the soapy water, and they're almost done by the time I get ready to do the dishes. So I welcome all of you here today. I'm so excited. We are making our delicious chocolate cake. Now, the first thing that we're going to do is look at our ingredients. We have vanilla, and I like pure vanilla. I love this brand, La Vencedora. Then we will have flour, salt, baking soda. We have Hershey's cocoa. We have Crisco. I love the butter flavor. We are going to have butter, 1 stick of butter in the cake. We are going to have sugar, of course, and we're going to have 3 eggs. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to mix our little chocolate sauce to go into the batter. So what is going to be in this little pan? What we're going to do is heat it on the stove until it's all melted together. Not boiling, but all melted together. Then we're going to set it off to the side to do the cooling while we get everything else ready. So in the first step, we have 1 stick of butter. We have 1/2 cup of this butter Crisco. We have 4 tablespoons of cocoa. And then we're going to have 1 cup of water. So let's get started. This is pure butter, unsalted. I'd rather not use the salted because it messes up in the rest of the recipe if you already have salt. So we're going to use unsalted butter, 1 stick. So let's go ahead and get it into the pan. And then we're going to unwrap this and get it all ready. And I'm so glad y'all are here with me today. This is so fun. 1 stick of butter. We're going to sit it in a little pan, put this in the trash. And I love aprons. So now we're going to put 1 cup of water. We're going to put this in here, and you probably have never seen a recipe like this. It's fairly old. I would say that some of my relatives brought this cake recipe when I was a child. So that's been about 60 years ago. So it is an old recipe. Okay, now we have 1 cup of water, 1 stick of butter. Let's see what else we're going to have. We're going to have 1/2 cup of Crisco. Now, Crisco and me have always had a history because I usually, as a kid and teenager, I'd get it all over me. But I'm learning to do a little bit better. And I found a little secret that this is 1/2. And if you drop it, you put it in a little bit of water and kind of sling it out a little bit, then it comes out so much easier. So we are going to put in 1/2. I like to use a spatula. You can use spoons, knives, whatever you want to use. We are getting this all, if I can get it out of the deal. So we are measuring 1/2 cup of butter Crisco. And the reason why I like the butter flavor, I use it in all of my cooking, everything. And I like it because it gives a creamier and a buttery flavor, but it's not too strong. And if you also have butter in the same recipe like we will, it doesn't seem to overpower. It really doesn't. And I have enjoyed this Crisco brand my whole life. I am just so thankful for it. It always does a good job. And no, they're not paying me to say these things. So it's just fun to find good ingredients that always work. You can try the other, whatever you're able to afford, and it's fine. But if you have a chance to use Crisco, I like it the best. So now we're going to take our little spatula. This is 1/2 of a cup, and we're going to slide it around. Try not to plop it in there. Okay, and look how clean that came out. That was pretty neat. All right, now I'm going to set my little spatula right there, put this over here. The only thing about the soapy water and Crisco is that if you just put this straight into the water, it kind of turns into glue. So I try to wipe it out before I put it in the soapy water. So we'll do that later. Okay, now what we are trying to do is melt this cocoa and this mixture together. So I'm going to measure 4 tablespoons of cocoa. Now, if you have worked with cocoa before, usually it's a little bitty can or something, but I like to get bulk. I like to get this at Sam's or one of those other big stores. And what that does is that it saves me trips of running back and forth to town. We live way out in the country, and I have to get bulk supplies because we're 100 miles away from any big city, either any direction. We're 100 miles away. So when I go into the bigger cities for doctor appointments or something, I'll buy the 25-pound bag of sugar and the 25-pound bag of flour, big deals like this. And the only thing I haven't been able to find is the Crisco, the butter Crisco. But all right, we are going to use, now the only thing about cocoa is it's real messy. And it's like a powder that just flies everywhere. So we're just going to be careful. If we make a mess, it's okay. We clean it up. We're going to do 4 tablespoons. It doesn't look like very much, but it really will be good. And this chocolate cake is going to be like a semi-milk chocolate on the inside. It's not going to be a real dark chocolate cake part. Then the frosting is going to be a darker chocolate, and you kind of get that double flavor. It's like a double chocolate or something. So that was 1. Now this is 2. So we're not making the cake part real strong and bitter. So this is going to be 3. Now, if you love to cook and you cook a lot, and there's many that watch that are very good cooks, that if you'd like to make this a little darker, you can experiment and enjoy and have fun. Okay, this is number 4. Now that didn't get extremely messy, thank goodness. I'll put that up in just a minute. My fingers kind of got covered, but it's okay. Now, what I'm going to do is heat this on the stove until it's melted and blended. I have a little bitty, long, love it, handled whisk that I get on Amazon. I love this. Now what I'm going to do is blend it gently while it's melting. But you don't need to boil this. You just want to blend it all together and melt it together. Then we're going to set it off to the side and let it cool completely. So I will take a break and I will get this to the stove and heat it, and I will be right back. Thank you. Okay, we are back, and I have the chocolate mixture, and let me show you the consistency of this. It's going to be very, very runny. So don't worry about that at all. It all blends in and will be perfect. So don't worry. Now we're going to set this off to the side, and while it is cooling, we're going to be doing other things. Now the first thing I want us to do is to learn how to prepare the cake pans. Now what I'm doing today is this is going to be a two-tier or two-layer chocolate cake. Now this recipe will also make a 9 by 13. So if you don't like these kind of layered cakes, or you don't have time or whatever, you can make it into a 9 by 13 and put frosting on the top. But when you make a two-layer cake and it has the frosting, the cake, the frosting, and all those different layers when you cut it, oh my goodness, it's absolutely beautiful. You will be so proud of yourself, and I'll show you later. We'll be frosting this two-layer cake, and honest to goodness, any brand new cook can do what I'm doing, and we'll go slow enough that I will try to explain. Now what we're going to do, now my type of pans, I'm so blessed to have had a mama that cooked as well as family members. But my pan has these bottoms that come out. You do not have to. So don't worry about that. You can have a regular pan. Now, I'm going to measure this for you. My little cooking ruler, I love it, and it's plastic and I can wash it off and it's perfect. Now these are, across the top, are considered 8-inch cake pans. If you find some that have the bottom that come out, that's wonderful. If you don't, that's okay. We'll fix it to where you can do it. Now these are both the same size, 8 inches. Now this recipe, my mother had a small little bakery in her home, and I was raised up making cakes and things and pies and everything with her. And what she taught me how to do is to make a waxed paper lining. This is regular waxed paper. We'll be using that in a minute. And she taught me how to make a lining for the bottom. Then, on both pans, then when you take the cake out and turn it over, you don't have those dry, yucky crumblies that fall everywhere if you use the wax paper. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to measure the pan, cut little circles on the wax paper. So I'm going to put one up for the minute. We're going to roll out the waxed paper, and we want 2. So I'm going to, now you see how it's curling up? I like to turn it over because then it doesn't flip on you while you're trying to do this. Now what I'm going to do is take the pan and set it down. And even though this pen won't mark very well on the wax paper, it'll still make a line. And that's what we will be cutting out in just a minute. So I'm going to go around the very bottom. And if it's kind of squiggly, it doesn't hurt because you will be trimming the little squigglies off. And that didn't make a line at all. So let me find something else and I will be right back. Okay, I'm back. I found a wet erase pen, almost like a Sharpie. And what I'm going to do is mark around the bottom, and then we're going to cut it out. And it's not hard to do this. And I'm going to go all the way around. Now, if this marker happens to get on your pen, it's a wet erase, so it'll come off, not like a Sharpie. And the Sharpie will come off eventually. Okay, now I'm going to do the second pen. I've marked around that one. Going to try to get them close enough where you can see. And I'm going to hold it down and mark it, and let's see, it didn't do very well. So we will, is it drying out on me? There we go. It's doing a little bit better. Now let me see. Pretty much. So all of my tools, I guess, need to be replaced. Okay, now I'm going to put this up for just a minute. And see, all the time we're doing this, you could already have this already done beforehand, or you could do it while you're letting this cool down. So it's okay, depends on your time. Now, when you're making a big project like this 2-layer cake, you want to at least plan for a couple of hours so that you have plenty of time to enjoy it and not be rushed, and try to not be cooking supper all at the same time. I've been a mother of young children, so I understand. So try to find a time when you have a little time to enjoy making it. Okay, we're going to cut around with some good scissors, and I'm going to... This is like an art project. This is fun. Okay, now I'm going to cut around. We're going to go around in this circle. Then we will prepare the pan with some Crisco and some flour. And I'll show you how to do that. And I'm going to get this trimmed around. And it doesn't have to be completely perfect. What this is going to do is that it's going to give the bottom of your cake a softer, instead of those little dry crumbs that go everywhere, because when you're frosting, you have those dry crumbs that just flake everywhere and they make the frosting look bad. So this is going to really help. So there is one. I'll turn it over so it tries not to flip on us. And then we will trim this one out real quick. And let me get my scissors over here. This part, if you have kids, it's fun to have them help you to do a lot of these little fun things, and to butter the pans. They love to butter the pans, and they love to help out. And another thing too, in this world nowadays, when I was growing up, I got to be, my mother was at home all day, and she didn't go out to work. She worked in the house. But nowadays, there's so many of the parents that are gone during the day, and you don't get a chance to be with your kids. And so this is something that you can do with your kids, that you can have quality time and still make something that they can be proud of. Okay, now we're going to get our 2 pans. We're going to get our Crisco. Just a minute. I moved it out of our way. All right. Now, let me get some paper towels, and I'll show you how to use and do the sides. So I will be right back. Thank you. All right, we are back. Now I'm going to do only the inside sides with Crisco shortening. And the white works, the yellow, the buttery kind works fine. So it's just up to you to what you might want to purchase or what you can. And so, but I still love to use the butter Crisco. And the brand Crisco is such a clean taste. It doesn't have a greasy, yucky kind of taste that is like old taste or old grease. Now I've done the sides pretty good. Now I'm going to take a little bit through the middle, just a little thing to help hold our little paper down. So now I'm going to do this other one. And it seems almost like you're wasting time when you're making a cake doing this sort of thing. And you can have, this already done, but you're letting the chocolate mixture cool down. So I want to teach you how to do these things so that you can really enjoy it and have a beautiful cake. And I promise you, your family is going to love this chocolate cake. I feel bad. My husband has been asking for this cake for several weeks now, and I've been trying to get to it, but it seems like everything else kind of happens. So we're making his chocolate cake. Yay! Okay, now we have our little piece of, oh, I forgot the flour part. This is important. You will have fun doing this, and it does get a little messy. And what I normally do is I do this, pat it over the trash can, but I want you to see today. So I'm going to kind of make a mess here probably. All right. Now, what I'm doing is I'm sprinkling just a little bit of flour, and I can use this one, and I'm tapping it around the edges like this. And it does go out everywhere. So yeah, that's why I usually do it over the trash can, but I want you to see how I'm doing this. And what it's doing is that it's sticking to that Crisco, the shortening that I put on the sides. And I'll show you what it looks like in just a second. Now I'm going to put this amount in that little guy, and I'll show you. The sides are stuck to the Crisco, and that's what you want. And when we start putting the batter into this, it'll keep the sides from making those crunchies as well as sticking and burning in the pan. So we've got our Crisco and our flour all the way around the edges, and we have our little Crisco right here in the middle. And I'm going to take this little feller, and we're just going to lay it in there. And if it doesn't extremely match, no worries. The batter will mash it down and make it work okay. Now, you can't hardly see it on camera, but that little plastic is laying in there, the little wax paper. Now, we're going to get this one ready. We're going to kind of tap it around, and I am making a mess, but I want you to see it's really easy. Cooking and things are really, really easy. You just take it slow and just one little step at a time. And you're amazed at what you come out with. And I don't want to forget my wonderful subscribers and all of you that are watching and commenting. Wow, I am so thankful for all your comments, and I love to answer. So anytime you want to write me, I will answer. You can also write my email, which is granny'scountrycooking@gmail.com. Or you can write in the comments below. Also, don't forget to push the little like button and also the subscribe button if you haven't subscribed. Okay, now I'm going to take the rest of the little flour, kind of tap it in, and as you see, that flour is all the way around the pan. Now I'm going to take this little paper, and I forgot to to doctor this little pan. So I'm going to kind of smoosh a little bit of shortening. Now I'm going to take this, see it's kind of curling, I'm going to lay the curl part down. Now, both pans are perfect. So I'm going to set this off to the side, and I will get this kind of cleaned up a little bit, and we'll fix the eggs and the flour and all the stuff that goes into the cake batter. So, excuse my fingers. We will be right back. Thank you. Okay, we're back. I've put the pans over to the side. Now we're going to make the batter to the cake. So we want 2 cups of sugar and three eggs at first. So let's get the eggs broken and put into our bowl. Now this bowl is a pottery bowl, and if you've seen my other videos, you'll see I use these bowls as much as possible. Now I get these at Lehman's. It's Lehmans. It's online, as well as they have catalogs. And these are hand pottery made bowls. I absolutely love them. And it's very, very important when you're making homemade breads. And this is 2. Now we're going to get the 3rd. And the thickness of this bowl makes a difference in making bread, because it holds the yeast and it helps the yeast to stay with the warm, and it lets the yeast rise better. Okay, now we have 3 eggs, and I like to use the nice big brown eggs, the big country eggs, and I'm going to beat these up at first. And as you can see, I'm using a whisk. I love whisks. Now, I've had some comments, wonderful comments, that say that you're kneading your bread by hand or these sort of things. And yes, in some of my recipes, very, very seldom will I use a mixer. But because I love the hands-on, I love to use things with my hands. And I don't have anything fancy. I have mostly older things or just kind of things that I've had for many, many years. And this is a whisk that I absolutely love working with. Now this one is special. If you can find a good whisk, it's got a pointed end that gets around in the edges, so it really, really works better. Now I'm going to beat this kind of, sort of, to get all the little clear places out. Then we're going to add 2 cups of sugar. All right, now that's getting a little bit better. So I'm going to add 2 cups of sugar. Make sure I get all these measurements right for you. Always clean hands, because when you're cooking, you have, or I have, my hands in so much of the process. So I love cooking. That's 1 cup. Now we're going to put 2 cups in. And I'm just so thankful that y'all are writing me. Thank you for all your wonderful comments. I just love it. 2 cups of sugar. And like I've told you before, I buy in bulk. So I get good prices and good quality products, but I need to get them in bulk because I cook a lot. And I love cooking with you guys. So we have fun, and you can come cook with me, and I love that. Another thing that I enjoy is that my grandkids live a little ways away, about 100 miles away, and I love to have my videos up so that they can cook what Granny's showing them how to cook, and they can learn by the videos, and I love that. I've been teaching them all their lives about how to cook different things, and so then they can continue on when they can't get down here to see us. All right. Now this is already very pretty. So we have 3 eggs, 2 cups of sugar. Now we're going to add 1/2 cup of buttermilk. Now, a while ago, I used my little measurer, so I'm going to reuse the same one because it just had water in it. And we're going to use 1/2 of buttermilk. Now, I'm having a problem because I cannot find Borden's buttermilk of the country store Bulgarian cultured whole buttermilk. That makes the very, very best cooking of anything. Waffles and pancakes and biscuits and everything you can think of. That's what's going in this cake. One of the problems is that even the towns 100 miles any direction is not carrying Borden's. I don't know why out in the middle of this nowhere we can't get Borden's very much, but I'm trying to use it while I still have it anyway. So the low-fat buttermilk doesn't work as well, but it does work, but it's not as good as this if you can find it. Okay, 1/2 cup. And if your buttermilk gets a little bit, even say a couple of months past the expiring date, for cooking, it's really okay because it's staying fine, it has more kind of foam and zippy to it, so it's working wonderful. All right, we're going to use 1/2 cup. And for those that are brand new cooks, this is a liquid measuring cup, so you have room to use it. But when you are measuring liquids, you want to set it on the flat counter, pour it in, and look at the measurement, because when you hold it, it makes a difference. Okay, now we're putting in 1/2 cup of buttermilk. And I'm going to use another little spatula. I love my work table with my drawers right here. And then here's another little spatula. Now, I didn't always use the spatula, getting a lot of this out of the cups, and that was because I was immature and didn't know. But there's probably a tablespoon left in these cups. And so if you don't have a little spatula, so it's a good thing to get you one if you don't have one. Okay, in the soapy water. Now we're going to stir this up, and also we're going to be putting in pure vanilla. This is La Vencedora. I buy it from Amazon, or you can buy it online, or you can buy it in little gift shops. I love it, absolutely pure, wonderful. And the flavor does not cook out of the food. Okay, we want 2 teaspoons. All right, here we go. And it's kind of a heavy bottle, so you have to kind of get a good grip. I don't want to drop it. Okay, 2 teaspoons. And I promise this bottle lasts me forever. So and I cook all the time. So if you don't do a lot of cooking, this is going to last forever because it's big. It's huge. Okay, now we are going to mix this up carefully because it's really soupy right now. We're fixing to add, and that's a Texas word, we're fixing to add the flour in just a minute. But right now, this is pretty soupy. I don't know if you can see how soupy, but we're going to mix this in really, really good. And remember, I didn't want to forget to tell you, have your oven preheated to 375. And you can do that while you're doing all this mixing. So 375. Run to the oven and get it turned on real quick. Now I'm getting this all mixed up. So I want to make sure we have everything. 2 cups of sugar, 3 eggs, 1/2 cup of buttermilk, and 2 teaspoons of vanilla. All right, and that is all mixed up, and it's beautiful. So now I'm going to set this off to the side. Now we're going to be using 2 cups of flour. Now my little sifter, I always sift my flour because when I buy in bulk, I cut the tops off and things, and I can usually maybe sometimes get little pieces of paper in there, or sometimes there's little hard lumps. So I always use a sifter. So I'm going to put our mixture in here, not into another bowl, and because it's 2 cups, I have enough room. This is a 3-cup size. So we are going to get 2 cups of flour. And this is something that you might not know. These are bay leaves, B-A-Y. And what that does is the little boll weevils and little, I don't know boll weevils, but little weevils and little bugs sometimes get into your flour. But the bay leaf has a fragrance to them that makes them run away. So that's why I keep them in our flour. And you can put it in your oatmeal and the little bay leaves in oatmeal and stuff. Okay, 2 cups of flour. I'm going to dig in to get the flour and use my finger, clean of course. Okay, this is 2. And all the while our our chocolate mixture is cooling down. 2 cups. Okay, now we are going to use 1 teaspoon of baking soda. Okay, let me get that kind of cleared off a little bit. 1 teaspoon. And this is 1 teaspoon. So we're going to make it in with baking soda. I love my little jars. These are my little antique jars. I try to be careful with them. Okay, we're going to get 1 teaspoon. Now, baking soda is fairly lumpy. So that's one reason for the sifter too. Okay, that is 1. And we need 1 teaspoon of salt. The same spoon is okay. And I love to use sea salt in my cooking. And it has a better flavor, and you don't have to use as much. If you're sprinkling salt on your food, you can use sea salt, and it has a better flavor, and you don't have to use as much. Okay, 1 teaspoon. All right. Now we have that. Now I'm going to scoot the batter bowl over, and I'm going to set this off to the side for a second. My little saucer. Now I'm going to take the flour sifter, and I'm going to sift carefully because it goes everywhere. It's so much fun having you cook with me. This is fun. Our nearest neighbor one is about 1/8 of a mile away, and another one's about 1/2 a mile away. And we do live out in the country. Now, the little soda needed a little bit of pressure, and I've gotten them all out. Now, don't forget this little bit of flour. You want to get all that you can out. Okay, now we're going to get our whisk, and we are going to slowly mix this up. And in just a minute, we're going to be adding our chocolate mixture. Then we're going to be putting them into our pans to cook. So make sure your oven is at 375. And as you can see, I'm kind of going in circles, getting it all mixed up. It's not that it's in lumps right now, but it's kind of a dry, gunky mixture. But it will all blend together. You don't have to worry. Right now, it's not real runny, but when we add the chocolate mixture, it will be looking really runny. But don't worry, because it cooks up beautiful. Now, when you cook a solid pan like the 9x13, you cook it a little bit longer than you do the smaller pans because they're smaller and thinner, and they don't cook as long as a big one. So you have to remember to not cook them as long, or you'll tend to burn them. All right, this looks wonderful. Let me show you. Isn't that beautiful? Okay, now we're going to add our chocolate mixture, but first I'm going to check it. Now it's been cooling off to the side this whole time, and I know it sounds kind of funny, but the best way to check to see if it's cool enough is by just putting your finger in, and if it's gentle warm, that's fine. If it's enough to burn your finger, it's going to burn this, so you want to cool it down some more. Now I'm going to wipe this on the rag. Okay, now we're gently going to be adding this to this batter, and it's perfect temperature. Let me get around here so you can see. Now this is going to be pretty soupy. You want to get as much of that out as you can. I love these little spatulas. And this spatula gets quite a bit out. So you're getting all of that good flavor, that good chocolate flavor. And here in just a little bit, woo, this house is going to smell good with that chocolate cake cooking. And when you make it at home, it's going to smell good too. All right. Now, this needs to be stirred gently because it's very soupy on top. So you want to mix it as good as you can. That's why I love a whisk, because it is real gentle and it helps to really mix it up good. This is looking so beautiful. Here in a minute, after I put it into the pans, I'll have to lick the bowl. Ooh, I love it. Now, I'm kind of going a little bit fast now, but I'm making little bitty circles. I'm not making big, sloopy circles. And that way it's blending, but it's not pouring out of the bowl. And I know when people are trying to divide this kind of batter between pans, sometimes you think, oh, did I get more in one pan than I did in the other? But my mom told me how to pretty well make it even. So we will do that in just a minute. Okay. Now, let me show you beautiful chocolate batter. And it's supposed to be this runny, so don't worry. It's not supposed to be an extremely thick batter, no. It's supposed to be this runny. Okay. Now, wow, that looks fabulous. And I've done around the edges and down in the bottom, making sure I've got it all mixed up. All right. Okay. Now let me get my pans. I'll be right back. right, now if you can see, I'll get this put up, and then you can see how I'm dividing it. And I've heard all different ways of dividing batter, like for cupcakes or different things like that, which is wonderful ideas. But the way that I like to batter it is put the pans real close together, and then you kind of scoot the bowl over close, and you take one big spoonful to each one. And it's pretty easy. Don't worry about making a mess. As we know, it all gets cleaned up, and it's okay. And when you have a fun afternoon that you can spend having fun like this, then you don't worry about little messes and things like that because you have plenty of time. Okay. Now y'all can help me keep up so that we can make sure we've got a spoonful in each one. Now don't worry about the little flour that's on the sides. It's not going to hurt anything. Oh, that's good. I just had to get that little drip. All right. And yeah, we could pour it in and try to get it even, which might be a lot easier, but this is fun. All right. And of course, I'm getting quite a bit on this side, but I'll try to get it all. We're getting one spoonful into each pan. And I can hear my oven doing its little clicking sound like your oven probably does. And I can tell that it's at the right temperature, so don't forget that oven, because you don't want these to sit in the pan while the oven's heating. All right, we're getting down kind of low to the bottom. And I'll try to remember which one I put it in. Now, if you made a 3-layer cake or with the 9 by 13, you can do the very same way if you want to make 3-layer cakes. And what that does is that you just put each spoonful into each pan until it's all out of the bowl. All right. Now I'm going to try. I've got a few little drips, but not bad. Okay, I think I can get one more into this other one, and then we've got it all nice and even. All right. Now that's close to all I can kind of sort of get right now. I want to use my spatula, but I don't want one to have more than the other. So we're trying. There we go. And I want something to lick too. Okay, now these are the 2 pans that are going in the oven, and don't forget 375. Now when it's 2 smaller pans instead of the 1 larger pan, it's going to cook less time. So it might be anywhere around say 20 minutes. I'm going to put it in, and then I'm going to pull it out and test it with a toothpick just to make sure. But I will go for now and put this in the oven, and then I'll be right back with you guys. Thank you so much. We'll be right back. All right, they've come out of the oven, and this house smells magnificent. Oh my gosh. If you can see how beautiful these 2 round cakes are, and they are darker after they're cooked. Whenever they're like in a batter form, they don't look quite as dark, but now they're nice dark chocolate. Beautiful. Now this is my grandmother's or great-grandmother's, and it's called a bread tester or a cake tester. Now you can do the same thing with a toothpick. But what this does is that you stick it in the middle, and if it comes out with goo on it, it needs to be cooked a little longer. If it comes out clean, then it's totally done on the inside. Okay, let's see. Let's try this one. And if it comes out with a little bit of goo on it, then I will cook it some more. Ah, look, just perfect all the way. So that means it is completely cooked. Now what I'm going to do, you see that these are on a rack. I'm going to put them on 2 racks so they cool down a little bit easier, and we will give them time to cool down nicely. They will sink just a teeny bit, but not much. So we're going to let these cool, and then I'll be back with you. All right. We'll see you in just a few minutes. Thank you. All right, we are back. Now the cake has been cooling for about 1 hour. It's still just a little bit warm, but that's going to be okay because we don't want it too warm. We don't want it too cold, because if you let it sit out until it's just extremely cold, it'll be dried out also. So we don't want to do that yet. What we're doing is we're going to let it finish cooling while we're making the frosting. Now this frosting is going to have, this is Baker's unsweetened. You could use a milk chocolate, you could use a dark chocolate. I like to use the unsweetened because we're going to be adding powdered sugar. So this will give it a nice rich chocolate color, and it's going to have this whole box. And what I did was I took it out of the box, and it's in little paper wrappings, and there's 2 little groupings like this. Now what we're going to do is melt it on the stove to get it all melted and creamed. Now what we're going to do is put half of a stick of butter into this little pan to help the chocolate to melt and not burn. We don't want to boil it, we just want to get it melted. So we're going to heat it on the stove, and this is the same little pan that I used for the cake with the other chocolate. Okay, so we're going to put this, and it's been sitting out for a while, so it's already pretty soft. And I'm going to put this in with the chocolate, and it's pretty gooey, and that's why we have aprons. Ugh, I love that. Now I'm going to try to get this moved around a little bit so the butter's near the bottom of the pan. I'm going to be using my spatula, and I'm going to gently heat it on the stove. So I'll be right back with you. Okay, the chocolate is melted, and as you can see, it's in that same little pan, and this is 1 box of that Baker's square that is 4 ounces. Let me get it back out for you so you can see it again. Okay, this is Baker's chocolate. Now you can use other brands. It's okay. I just happen to have this in my cupboard. But it's Baker's unsweetened chocolate, and it's 4 ounces. And what I did was I broke it in 2 so it fit in the pan easy, and I put a half a stick of butter, plus I put in 1/4 teaspoon of salt. And that way the salt will melt in with the warmth and the mixture of the chocolate, and it won't be gritty in the frosting. So we are waiting on our cake. It's just almost perfectly ready. And now we're making our frosting. So also there are 2 sticks of butter. 2 sticks of butter creamed like this. And I'm going to take Hershey's cocoa, then I will have pure vanilla, and then I will have the powdered sugar, and I would be adding this to the soft butter. But what I want to say is if you are just joining us for the frosting part of this video, this frosting can also be used for cupcakes. It can be used for this cake that we're making today. You can use it on various things, and you can keep it covered in the refrigerator. If you have leftover, you can keep it in the refrigerator for a few weeks. So you can use this frosting several times with different things. So now we are going to put in Hershey's cocoa, and let me get that measured. It's going to be 3/4 of a cup. Now we're going to put it in with the butter to mix it up with that and kind of cream it. And so we're going to have 3/4 of a cup. And I'm going to use my tablespoon that I used with the cocoa before, because it kind of helps to measure. And if you've used cocoa much, it is very kind of messy, powdery. It goes everywhere. So we're going to put 3 cups. 3/4 of a cup. I'm sorry. 3/4 of a cup. This is 1/4 cup, and we're going to put 3 in. And I'm doing this because I've already used this little spoon, and we can kind of measure it like this. So we're going to put it into the butter. We'll be creaming it. It'll be okay. It looks kind of funny at first, but it's okay. Now we're going to be adding this, and I'd like to say, if you are joining our video at this time to just make the frosting, there's my beeper. That means the cake should be ready as soon as we get this done. So I've been timing the cake so we'd make sure and have it cool down just enough. But if you are joining us in this frosting part of the video, thank you for joining. And I am Granny, and this is Granny's Country Cooking. And we are making a good older recipe for frosting for this chocolate cake, as well as even cupcakes and that sort of thing. So that's what we're doing, and I'm glad you're with us. Also, if you'd like to subscribe, we'd love to have you, and you can push the like button if you like the video, and comment always to me. I love to answer you. Okay, now we're going to do 3/4 of a cup. So we are getting this done. And we're going to be using our same washed big spoon that we used for the cake. We'll be adding vanilla in just a minute. And of all things, we will be adding the light corn syrup. We'll be adding that to the recipe in just a minute. So we'll get this put out of the way, and we'll stir this up. And in the meantime, our chocolate mixture is cooling down. It doesn't have to be totally cold. We just don't want it to burn the frosting part. So we're going to put this up, the cocoa. Now we're going to stir this in. And as you can see, I had 2 sticks of butter. Now we have 3/4 of a cup of the chocolate, the cocoa, and it's looking pretty rough, but it's going to be okay. And then later, we will add the powdered sugar. And we will be getting our cake out in just a minute, and it is going to be beautiful. And I'm mixing this up. And y'all will have to excuse me. My allergies my nose has been sniffling today. All right, this is looking really, really pretty. Okay, we're going to get this all stirred up. Now, right now, it wouldn't taste very good because we don't have any sugar in it, but we're creaming the butter and the cocoa. Then we're going to add the Karo syrup, or I call it Karo syrup. It's the corn syrup, the clear and the light corn syrup. Now we're going to be doing 3/4 of a cup of this also. Make sure, yeah. 3/4 of a cup. Now this is my liquid measurer, and I'm going to rinse it with water to hopefully be able to get most of the syrup out. And this, I'm going to set it down so that you have a liquid measure so that you can read it easier. So we're going to do 3/4 of a cup. And I'm not able to see. Let me move my bottle over. All right. Okay. This will make a creamy, smooth frosting. Be very, very nice. All right. Now we're going to get my other little spatula, and I've already washed it, so we're going to get it, and we're going to pour this in, and we will get it all stirred up. And I love to hear from you. I love to hear your comments, and I appreciate you writing. That way I have a chance to know how y'all are thinking, and if you like the videos, and if you want to see more, and also if you have more ideas of what you would like to see, then I will do my best to get it for you. All right, let me get this. All right. Now we're going to stir this, and we're also going to add vanilla to this mixture. This is looking beautiful. And we also have this extra chocolate to go in it too. It's really going to be chocolatey, isn't it? And I just got my finger in. So let me get that, and I'll get the wet rag, because unfortunately it didn't have any sugar in it, so it's not going to taste too good. We will add our powdered sugar in just a minute. And let me show you how it's looking. It's looking good. All right. Now we're going to add 2 teaspoons. 2 teaspoons of vanilla. And this is pure vanilla. And I love this brand, La Vencedora. And I get it on Amazon, or you can buy it in anywhere on the internet, I think, or in little gift shops. And it's heavy, it's very, very pure, very good for baking. Okay, 2 teaspoons. Okay. Alrighty. We'll get that on there. Now we will mix this up carefully, because you don't want to sling vanilla out of the bowl. And as you can see, I'm using the same bowl that I used for the cake batter. And I love these bowls. They give you nice depth, big. I love that. Gives you plenty of room to stir around in. Okay. Now, I'm going to start out with some powdered sugar. I'll move the chocolate, melted chocolate over. Now, I'm going to start with 2 cups of the powdered sugar. Now, you need to always sift powdered sugar. And when you open up powdered sugar, there is always some little lumps in there. And you think to yourself that when the liquid gets to it, it'll dissolve those lumps, but it doesn't. And you do need to sift the powdered sugar. Weird. but you really, really do. And it makes a smooth, smooth, beautiful frosting. Okay, this is one cup. Okay. And when we add it, we'll add just a little bit at a time. And I'm going to put 2 cups in here now. And it may take a lot more, but we will take it a little bit at a time because we want to get it to the frosting consistency to where we can smear it and design the cake, make it look pretty. So now I'm going to add the powdered sugar, just a little bit at a time. Okay, I'll scoot that over, and we will gently stir this because we can sling it out. We've done that before. And as you can see, it is mixing up, but it's not mixed all the way. So we will get it mixed all the way. And then we will get this other cup in. That was about a cup. Okay. I have a separate sifter for my powdered sugar, but if you don't have a separate one, it's okay. You can use your flour one. It is all right. And we're getting it all mixed up. Ooh, that's going to be beautiful. Now it's going to start tasting good. Now it's going to look good. It's getting to a good consistency here. Ooh, that's really getting pretty. But we are going to need some more powdered sugar. Isn't that beautiful? That's beautiful. And it does need more stirring. And let me see, I'm going to use the little spatula. I love these spatulas. I have all different sizes. And if you've never used them, you would love to enjoy using them because they really do scrape the spoons very good. They get all of the stuff off the bowls. It's wonderful. Alrighty, now I'm going to keep stirring. Wow. Now this was 2 cups, a little bit left for the 2 cups. And now what we're going to try to do is make enough with this chocolate mixture added to this, a little bit of it, for the cake part. Then we're going to make a topping frosting that will be a little bit darker, a little richer. So we're going to try that today and see how it works out. And I'm going to get 1 more cup. I may not put it all in, but I'm going to work with 1 more cup right now. We're not going to need all of it, but I'll get it into the sifter and we'll get it measured. This is 3 cups in all. I have 2 cups in here in my hands. All right, let's get this stirred up. this is really getting better. It's really looking good. And it's really coming together good. It's not quite ready for the cake yet because it's not quite thick enough. Want a little bit more. So, I'm going to use a little bit, maybe about half of this maybe. So that will be 2.5 cups in here. And we'll see how the texture is. Oh, this is looking wonderful. And I'm going to need to get my spatula out. Ooh, this looks good. Now I'm wanting to taste it. My husband's been waiting a long time for this. I made one a few months ago, and oh my goodness, we really enjoyed that. And so he's been kind of wanting another one really bad. And I told him a few weeks ago I was going to get him a chocolate cake, make him one. All right, now this is almost to the frosting stage, and what I'm going to do, this is our chocolate, and it's cooled down, so it's plenty cool so that it won't burn anything or curdle or anything. Now I'm going to put about half of this mixture in. Now this is going to give us a nice, richer chocolate. I could have just left the cocoa and it would have been good, but I'm adding this to give like a little bit richer flavor. And then I will need to add more of the powdered sugar, but not much. If you can see, I'm mixing that all in. Beautiful. Now remember, this melted chocolate just has the melted chocolate and the butter, so it doesn't have any sweetening to it. Now, as you can see, this is turning into a richer looking chocolate color. It's not just so kind of powdery looking or kind of dull looking. This is going to be richer here. And we do need a little more powdered sugar, but not much. That's looking beautiful. All right. Now we're going to put the rest of this 3 cups. There we go. As you can tell, my little sifters have been around a long time, but oh, I love them. They're kind of like having your good friends in your kitchen with you. Okay, now the little lumps that don't blend in, I'm mashing them gently through the sifter so that there won't be any lumps. Get that in there as best we can. All right, now we're going to stir this up, and I think it's going to be perfect to frosting our cake. Ooh, I can't wait. My allergies have been acting up today. Oh, this is beautiful. Let me share it with you. It looks kind of strange now, but it will be fine. And I will get the spatula, and we'll get the sides. Now that is a good texture. And at the same time, we're still letting the cake cool down, so everything's just fine. The one thing that I found out is not to leave the cake sitting out like all afternoon long. I did that years ago, accidental. And what happened was it dried the inside of the cake out. I did go ahead and frost in it, but the whole cake was kind of dry. And so I didn't get it out at that time, and I should have gotten it out and not allowed it to sit out all that time. I did just letting it cool, I thought, but that wasn't right. I need to get it out of the pans, and then soon, pretty soon, start frosting it so you keep that moisture into the cake. All right. It's almost mixed up. And I'll let you see that beautiful frosting. Isn't that beautiful? All right. Now, I will be back. I'm going to move some of this out of the way, and I'll get the cakes out of the pan, let you see them, me getting them out, and I'll be right back. Thank you. Okay, what I've done is I've gone around the edge of this cake pan. As you can see, what I'm doing is I'm going around the edge, just like this. And now I'm going to turn the cake upside down. What I'm going to use is a rack. This is very old. A rack turned upside down on top of this little cake pan, and I'm going to flip it. Okay, now look at that. Oh, that beautiful little cake. Isn't that beautiful? Oh, I love it. Now, remember, my pans have the bottom that come loose, but that doesn't mean you can't do this with a pan with a solid bottom. So it will work. Now, I'm going to kind of take my knife gently and try to go through here and loosen it. Just a little bit. Okay. Now, remember we put that waxed paper in the bottom of the pan in here? And also remember we had shortening Crisco around the edges plus flour. Now that flour is gone and the shortening has kind of helped to hold the cake. Now I'm going to gently peel that beautiful, beautiful little cake. Now this is one layer. Now what I'm going to do, because of frosting, I don't want the frosting to get into the crumblies and mix with it. So, as you've seen, I'll show you, I'm using just a regular plate. It's not a fancy cake plate. Now I'm going to put this on here upside down. Now I'm going to hold my thumbs and I'm going to flip it. There. Now this side is the top shiny part. So what I'm going to do is kind of gently scoot it and get it in the middle a little bit. Now I'm going to take some of this frosting. Now see, this is shiny and smooth and slick. I don't have any of the crumbles to mix up with the frosting, so it's better to use the top. Now I'm going to do this right here, and I'm going to get another spoonful. Okay, now this is just a regular knife. I can use it, or I have my mother's little cake knife that she used in her bakery from the 50s. So I'm using that today just to be close to my mom. All right, now we're going to just start from the middle and smooth it over to the edges. Just like this. We're going to smooth it over. If we need more frosting, we can get it. It's okay. Now I'm going to smooth it around And you see me turning the plate. All right. Here we go. And if I need more frosting, I can always get it. See, I'm going around gently, slowly, right to the edge. Ooh, this chocolate cake is going to be out of this world. Okay. So far, in this one video, you haven't heard my puppies barking. I have 2 Boston Terriers, and they are characters. And they always love to be with Mama when I'm cooking. But they don't like video days because they can't get in the kitchen. They kind of like to get in the way sometimes. So this is going to work pretty good. If I needed more frosting, I can always get it. And I might need a little bit more right there. Let's get just a little bit more. Woo, that's pretty. All right. And anytime you make your homemade cakes, to me, any kind of time that you spend with it is beautiful. And it doesn't have to be like a bakery. It doesn't have to look extra fancy. But your family will know and your friends will know that you took extra time for them. And that's what will make it beautiful. And this kind of frosting is easy to use because it's not just powdered sugar and chocolate flavoring. It's more of the syrup in it, gives it a good texture. So this is easier to work with. Okay, now I'm going to get the other little top of the cake. I'll be right back. All right, I've got the other layer to go on the top. Now I'm going to use the same knife and I'm going to go around the edges. And what I'm going to try to do is, hopefully it won't come apart with me, it shouldn't. Now I'm showing you, this is the very top. I'm going to try to make this top on that top and get it out of the pan because the underside has all the crumbs and this one is very slick and very smooth. So I'm going to do this and let me go ahead and get this rack and we are going to, I don't have the plate this time so I'm going to use my hand. I'm going to do this right there. And you put the rack upside down so that it lands on its little legs. Okay, now look at that. Ooh, this is fun. All right, now we're going to take that little bottom off. Now when you have a pan that the bottom doesn't come loose, it's okay because your waxed paper is going to help the cake not stick. Look at there. Isn't that pretty? All right. Now we're going to get this waxed paper off. Hope you can see real well. Now, of course, always clean hands, always. Okay, that's beautiful. Now, I'm going to put this over here. Now, what we want is this to be flipped upside down. So, I'm going to do this with clean hands. Beautiful. And then I'm going to set it right on top. Wow. Isn't that beautiful? We are actually doing it today. Look at this. Now I'm going to get all the little crumbs. That's delicious. And I want to make sure that the cake is as centered as I can, but I think it's gotten off a little bit, but it doesn't hurt. Okay, now we're going to do the sides, but I'm going to put this on the top, and that's what I'm going to work the sides with. Now I'm going to take my knife. I could use this knife just as easy. I like this one because I feel my mama with me. Now I'm going to take this and I'm going to start here and let it kind of roll itself down. And then I'll get the bottom. And if you have crumbs mixed in it, don't worry. It'll all blend together. And see, there's like a little hole right there. So what I'm going to do is slide this right in it. Just kind of blend all that in. Now we're going to do this side, and as you can tell, I'm turning the plate as I'm frosting. And if I need more frosting, then I will do that. I will get more. And if the plate tends to get messy, we can clean it up with a wet rag here in a little bit. Ooh, this is beautiful. And we are going to need some more frosting, but we have plenty. On another video I will do one day is the German chocolate cake. Ooh. And what that one, the recipe that I have is my mama's, and she got it from a German lady, really German lady, and it was from the early 1940s that she got this recipe. It is out of this world. So now we are making our delicious chocolate cake. And I'm going to get a little bit more frosting. And we seriously have plenty. I'm not putting too much on at once because what we have a little bit left over, I'm going to make a darker kind of chocolate to kind of go on top and decorate it. All right, let me see. Oh, this is just beautiful. This cake, even though it's not going to have a lot of people eating on it at one time, it will last in the refrigerator unbelievable. Now, what is happening is that the frosting is sealing in the moisture in the cake part itself. So it will stay really good wrapped with clear wrap in the refrigerator, wow, for maybe 2 weeks if it lasts that long. This is beautiful. Now I'm going to go around here so you can see. Anytime you have any little holes, just cover them up with frosting. It won't hurt a thing. And I'm going to need a little bit more. We made a bunch of good frosting. It is so fun. And you know, you don't have to be real fancy with this. It already looks fancy. Just in your little turning of your knife like that makes it look fancy. I haven't seen too many people that didn't love chocolate cake. Ooh-wee. And this is so moist. Ooh. It lasts so long, so well, and so moist. It just melts in your mouth. Okay. Hope you can see. Now, I do have a little stand that I could put this on, but I wanted to be, that it might be handier but I wanted to make this without a stand because you may not have one at your home. I want you to see that it's still okay. Ooh-wee. I bet that is looking good on the camera. My goodness, that's going to want you to make you want to make one really bad. Okay, I'm almost all the way around. I just need a little bit more. And as you can see, this is the end. Now what I'm going to do is check for little holes that have popped open while we've been working with another side. So we're going to check that out. Don't worry about the plate. We can come back and get it. Now there's like a little hole right there. I'm going to get it really good. And we're going to go around, and there's a few little holes. Let me see. Maybe a little bit right there. Little bit right there. And as you can tell, this frosting is not running off of the cake. It's doing really, really good. Now, I'm going to get a little bit more on the top. Okay. Now we are going to now if you were making cupcakes, wow, you would have a ton of frosting. But remember, it will stay in the refrigerator for up to 2 weeks. And you could make all kinds of cupcakes and then make some more fresh. And I haven't done this, but you might try even putting the frosting in the deep freeze because it sure may work. I haven't done that before because I've always made the cake that took all of the frosting. But if you like to make little cupcakes and things or a smaller cake, then it may work to be in the deep freeze. You can try it if you have a little bit of time and a little bit extra. Now I'm kind of swirling it like this, so I'm kind of getting a little bit of texture to it. Ah, it's so pretty. Makes me want to lick it. We need a little bit more in those areas. Now what I'm doing is saving that darker chocolate to add to what's left to make a little darker top. So this is what I'm doing. If you can see, I'm kind of getting some swirls, kind of taking my knife and doing this, and you could also do it with a regular knife also. My fingers are a teeny bit gooey, but it's okay. We can wipe them, and then we will wipe the plate off to make it look pretty. Can you kind of see I'm making little swirls? You can decorate it any way you want to. It's just fun. Even my grandkids have made a chocolate cake for their dad for a birthday, and they decorated with fresh strawberries on top. I'm so proud of them. They did a good job. Now we're getting a little bit more frosting to give it the little curly cues. All right. Now, I'd like to put like a little darker top on this. So, I'm going to scrape that off and put this over here. And I want you to see we have just a little bit of frosting left right there. So I'm going to add, I still have tons of this left. As you can see, there's quite a bit. Now what I'm going to do with this, since it's butter and melted chocolate, what I'm going to do with what is left over, I'm going to put in a little container and put this in the deep freeze. And then I can reuse it again for another cake or add it to some more of this frosting here. So we're going to add a little bit, I would say maybe 1 to 2 tablespoons maybe. Now, as you can see, I'm going to stir that up. And let me get my little spatula. And we will get that all stirred up and make a beautiful darker chocolate little design on top. So we are getting there. And since it takes just a little while, I'm going to let this firm up a little bit before I cut it. And what I will do is on the end of this video, I will add pictures of what it looks like when it's cut. But I'm going to let it kind of get firmed up just a little bit. Now that 1 tablespoon didn't make it quite as dark as I would like. So I'm going to add a little bit more. And you don't have to do this. This is just fun. And what I might do at the very, very end is I might take some of this and kind of dribble it around the top. That'd be fun. That'll make it look really, really special. Now I'm stirring this with a spatula because it's a small mixture in this big bowl. So it's mixing up a lot better. It doesn't look too much darker. Can you see? It's just a little bit darker, not much. Let's see. Okay, I'm going to add 1 more tablespoon. We want it nice and kind of a difference from there. That's about another tablespoon. So let's say about 3 tablespoons into this last little leftover of the frosting. Ooh, this is beautiful. Well, it's not really much different, but this is what I'm going to use. So I'm going to scrape this, if I don't drop the bowl, on top of this. It's not a lot difference in color, but I'm going to dribble the rest of that chocolate around here in just a minute. It will have a little bit of a different taste, a little bit more stronger chocolate. And these bowls, don't worry about cleaning. You can let water sit in them for a little while, and all of that dissolves and just cleans up really good. Don't worry about that. Ooh, this is beautiful. My husband is going to love this. Now, let me find my little spatula. It looks like too much of a glob, but it's really not. Once I kind of spread it out, it's just going to be absolutely beautiful. Then we're going to dribble some of that leftover chocolate across the top. Now we have enough that we can kind of make it pretty like that. So let's see what we can do and play with. It's fun. We're making it beautiful. Look at that. We're just playing in it. And it's okay. It's not going to hurt the cake or anything. So we're doing a little bit of a little dribble right there. Oh, pretty. And then we're going to do another little dribble right there. There we go. And now, let's see how we can do this in pretty ways. Oh my goodness, look at that. Isn't this fun? that I will show you what it looks like at the end of this video with some photographs. Oh my goodness. This is absolutely beautiful. Just a little bit more. Now, when this is tasted, mixed in with that, it's going to be delicious because it's like a extra dark chocolate mixed with the milk chocolate. Okay, now, look at this. Let me see if I can hold it up for you even better so that you can see that beautiful. Thank you so much for being with me. Don't forget to get your little rag and go around the edges, little paper towel, a little wet, and just kind of clean the plate up a little bit. And I want to thank you for being with me. We've had the most wonderful time, and I'm so excited to see your pictures. Maybe you can send me your pictures of your chocolate cake. I'd love to see if you put swirls or what you like to do with your cake. And let me know how you like this recipe. Be sure and push the like button and also subscribe. I would love to have you as a subscriber, and write to me. I'd love to hear from you. So I will say goodbye for this video. This is Granny at Granny's Country Cooking. Thank you so very, very much for being with me. Bye-bye.